Hello guys, this is Noble Mind Science Tutors Online and my name is Otobo Mike. You are welcome to our class for today, and today we are still continuing to discuss, we are continuing our discussion on the use of micrometer screw gauge to measure the distance of objects. And in our previous video I told you that micrometer screw gauge is used to measure the diameter of a very tiny wire. You can also use it to measure the thickness of a paper. So sometimes when you use the micrometer screw gauge, you can have a zero error. So how do you calculate the zero error? That is what we are going to discuss today in our class. Before we continue to our class today, please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. Click on the notification button so that when we upload any video, YouTube will notify you. Also, if you have any comment, please put your comments on the down of this video. Put your comment on the comment section below. And also you can click on the WhatsApp link on this video below, and then it will take you to our WhatsApp chat page where I respond to most of your questions and then the solutions to your test your understanding that I normally give at the end of the lecture. So as I've always said, get your writing materials and then let's go to our class for today. We are going to learn how to calculate or determine the zero error of a micrometer screw gauge. Just like what we discussed in vernier caliper, sometimes when you use the micrometer screw gauge, you might have a zero error. So how do you calculate it? How do you measure your zero error in a micrometer screw gauge? Alright, so the first thing that you need to do is that for you to know that your micrometer screw gauge has zero error, you first of all close the joist of the screw gauge tightly. If the zero on the main scale and that on the vernier scale does not align, that screw gauge has a zero error. So for you to determine the zero error, you look at your screw gauge. These are two types of scales. These are two types of scale readings on a micrometer screw gauge. So if the zero on the vernier of the micrometer screw gauge or the scale, if the zero on the vernier, this is the vernier, then this is your main scale. If the zero on this vernier is to the bottom of this zero on the main scale, then your zero error will be positive. Your zero error will be positive. If this zero is to the bottom of the zero on the main scale, your zero error will be positive. Then in another case, if the zero on the vernier is to the top of the zero on the main scale, then your reading or the zero error will be negative. So just like we had in vernier caliper, for a micrometer screw gauge, you can have either a positive zero error or a negative zero error. Now, when you have a positive zero error, how do you read it? You read it normally. So you start from the zero. Like for this particular case, you start from the zero, you count 1, 2, 3 to the line that coincides with the line on the main scale. So for this particular scale reading, your zero error will be positive 3, positive 0.03, because what you do is that normally you know that you multiply your reading on this vernier by the accuracy of your micrometer screw gauge, and the accuracy of micrometer screw gauge is 0.01 millimeters. So if this is 3, multiply the 3 by 0.01, you are going to have 0.03 millimeter. That is positive. Now in this case, you count from the zero that is on top of the zero on the main scale. This is 1, 2. So that gives you negative 0.02. You multiply that 2 by the accuracy of the micrometer screw gauge, which is 0.01, and then you have 0.02 millimeters negative. So this is how you know whether your zero error is positive or if it is negative. Now, if your zero error is negative, that is how you can use this formula to calculate it. You know that the scale of the vernier on the micrometer screw gauge, the scale, the maximum reading is 50 millimeters. When it gets to 50 millimeter, it changes to 0. That is what you are seeing here now. So what you do is that you can also use this formula to calculate it. That subtract your reading on this vernier scale from 50 and then multiply your result with the accuracy of the scale. That will give you the zero error of your micrometer screw gauge. So if in this case I can count, this is 45, 46, 47, 48. So if I subtract 48 from 50, I will have 2. Multiply the 2 by 0.01, I will have 0.02 millimeters negative. So either of this way, either you count from the 0 down or subtract your reading from 50, multiply by the accuracy of the scale, you will have your negative zero error. So that is how to calculate the zero error for a micrometer screw gauge. Alright, so right away we'll go to some examples and see how this can be done to drive home the point that I've just stated. Alright, so this place says that the following micrometer screw gauges have their jaws closed firmly. However, the readings are not exactly 0. Determine the zero error and whether it is positive or negative. So let's look at this particular one. You see that for this, the 0 on the vernier of the screw gauge is to the bottom of the 0 on the main scale. So this one tells you that this zero error is positive. So here we can just count this 0. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you do is I multiply that 4 by 0.01 millimeters. So you have 4 multiplied by 0.01 millimeters. So this gives you the zero error of this micrometer screw gauge, and that is positive 4. Take note, that is positive 4. So this is the zero error for this micrometer screw gauge, 0.04 millimeters. Good. So this is 0.04 millimeter. I think this is direct. It's not difficult. If you understand what we did in vernier caliper, then this should just be direct, easy to understand. Okay, so that is zero error for this particular scale reading. Okay, so we'll take another example too. All right, so this is another scale reading. Look at this scale reading very well. Look at the scale reading very well. In this particular micrometer screw gauge scale, you are not seeing the 0 here. You are not seeing the 0. So how do you know if the 0 is down or it is up? So what will help you to know that is, look at these two scales. Look at this first one and then this second one. You see that the vernier scale, this vernier scale is to the right of the 0 on the main scale. If the vernier scale is to the right of the 0 on the main scale, that your reading will be positive. It will be positive. But if this vernier scale is to the left, if it is past this mark on the main scale, like as you have it here, if you compare these two, you will see that on this one, the vernier scale is to the left of the 0 mark on the main scale. So if it is to the left of the 0 mark on the main scale, just like we have here, then this your 0 error is negative. Please take note of this. This is very, very key. This is very key. That's why I brought these two examples, so that you see the difference. Know when this linear scale is to the left, and know when it is to the right. This is to the right, then this is to the left. If it is to the left, then your 0 error is negative. So what are you going to do? You take that formula, right? This is, take your reading here. Just take your reading normally. This is 35, 36, 37. Subtract this reading from 50. Since you have known that this is a negative 0 error, subtract this reading from 50, multiply your result by the accuracy of this machine, and that gives you your 0 error. So right away, this is what you do for this one. This is already a negative 0 error, we know that. So this one you have here, you have 50 minus 35. So that gives you, no, 50 minus, so sorry about that. That is 50 minus 35, 36, 36, 37. 50 minus 37. Sorry about that. 50 minus 37. So that gives you 13. So multiply this 13 by the accuracy of the machine, which is 0.01 millimeters, and that will give you 0.13 millimeters. Okay, so this is negative. All right, so this gives you the 0 error of this particular scale. This is 0 error for this particular scale. Please try and get that understanding. Know when this linear scale is to the left, then know when it is the right. It will guide you. It will guide you, especially when you are not seeing the 0 on the scale that is given to you. This will guide you in order for you to be able to get your accurate reading. Okay, so that is for this one. Very simple and straightforward, direct. All right. Okay, this is another example too. I want us to consider this one. Also on this one, you are not seeing the 0. You are not seeing the 0, but if you follow the guide that we used to solve this second one, it will just guide you. You know that the linear scale here is to the left of the mark on this of the 0 of the main scale. So that tells you that this has a negative 0 error. So straight away you take your reading. This is 30, 31. Subtract 31 from 50. Okay, so you have 50 minus 31. This will give you 19. This will give you 19. So multiply your 19 by 0.01 millimeters. So that gives you 0.19 millimeters, and this is negative. This is negative. So this gives you the 0 error for this particular scale reading. So guys, that's how to find the 0 error for a micrometer screw gauge. I hope we are progressing and we are understanding the simple method of measuring or determining 0 error for a micrometer screw gauge. Okay, so this is your test. This is your test page. Please try and solve these ones and then submit your answers on the comment sections. Also, you can click on the WhatsApp page, put your answers there. I will check them. Anyone that is not correct, I will make my comments. The ones that are correct, I will also make my comments. Right? So look at the various methods that I use to solve the examples that I give to you. They will offer you a guide. Then for you to still sharpen your skill, please check some past question papers. check the past question papers. You will see questions on there, especially on JAM, NECO, GC, and WAEC. Check your past question papers. You will see questions on how to determine either zero error or to measure the reading for a micrometer screw gauge. We see questions on all that. Then don't forget that the smallest error that you can get on a micrometer screw gauge is the accuracy of the machine, which is 0.01. So thank you very much for your time. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe and click on the notification button. If you like what we are doing, please give us a thumbs up. We are trying our best to make sure that we bring your classroom to you in YouTube. So give us a thumbs up, and then we'll continue to do our best to dish out the best learning that you can ever get on physics. Also, if you have a friend that you is maybe having challenge with physics, tell them that something is happening in YouTube. Let them come and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much, and then we'll see you in our next class.